Video games began to feature more pixels, more colors, more sound effects and music, and more complex level design. Eventually came the technological step that would change the medium forever, the first giant leap into 3D worlds. Since then, playing spaces have been revolutionized, and visual world building has reached new heights. 3D games have become more fluid, expansive, and aesthetically impressive, and all the while, 2D games have retained their popularity within certain genres and amongst certain audiences, benefiting from greater technical capabilities and crisper visuals, while maintaining their charming and nostalgic art style. The differences between 2D and 3D games are beautiful and fundamental, making either style fulfilling an essential aspect of a game's wider identity and tone. The fact that the possibility for fun gameplay, gorgeous graphics, and intricate storytelling can extend across two different dimensional planes is an incredible thing, and allows for true art to flourish in the gaming industry. And yet, like always, gamers have to ruin this wonderful thing with some of the stupidest and most redundant discourse I've ever heard. If I reflect on my playing habits, I exhibit a clear preference for 3D games, with slick gameplay mechanics and engaging worlds with widely interactive environments. And yet my list of favorite games of all time is also rife with 2D titles. I mean, my favorite Zelda game is 2D, despite tough competition from incredible 3D worlds, and Sonic Mania easily outclasses every Sonic game created in the last 10 years, largely because 2D Sonic plays way better than 3D games. While 3D games continue to push the limits of graphics, well-designed game mechanics, and fluidity of gameplay forward in an exciting and ever-evolving industry, 2D games offer certain storytelling and gameplay experiences that are often more tender or relaxing, but also can offer challenges of skill and precision not as possible in 3D environments. Equally, some games benefit from a blending of 2D and 3D elements, such as Pokemon Black and White, introducing new depth and dimension to its game world and traversal while maintaining the series' classic pixel style, or the upcoming Mario Wonder, retaining its modern look with 3D character models and lighting, but applying them to a 2D platforming gameplay space. Mario Wonder is great news for platforming fans, who have thus far had to get their classic Mario fix from games older than a decade ago, or Mario Maker.
This is not okay.
Similarly, while some major franchises may be leaving their roots behind, as with Final Fantasy XVI continuing to push forward the visual and gameplay developments of 15, fans of the older style can find new love with indie titles and modern cult outfits such as Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy. Honestly though, they should fire the guy who comes up with these stupid ass names for their games. The Metroid series is a great modern high profile example of the differing capabilities and experiences of 2D and 3D games. The recent Metroid Dread pays homage to classic Metroid by taking the Metroidvania exploration, progression-based upgrades, as new abilities are unlocked to enable you to access more areas of the map, and of course, the classic backtracking, aka looking at the map for 2 hours trying to find out which way to go and figuring out the one specific thing you needed to do by either looking it up online or spending the next 5 hours hating your life.
This is what I call a Metroid moment.
Gamers in the past, whether 2D or 3D, were known to feature these much more grueling styles of gameplay, and many modern gamers love this kind of old school challenge. Of course, in modern incel fashion, they then also have to laugh at the people who are struggling with such eloquent and elegant catchphrases as skill issue or that's why you're not a gamer.
No. You are not a gamer!
Meanwhile, the 3D Metroid Prime series is mostly about atmosphere, where the first-person camera lets you explore the intricate beauty of the planet up close, while seeing Ridley trying to scram the out of your face up close and personal. So while 3D games have the advantage of slicker gameplay and greater movement, aided by a whole ass additional axis, 2D games have the potential to create much more accessible and practical game worlds, while also demanding different types of skill. And although 3D games can be gorgeous, 2D art styles are often more manageable and consistent, leaving 3D games that require more complex engines and larger budgets subject to many bugs, and the critique that it looks worse than some GameCube games I played back in the day, or it looks like a PS2 now. While 2D games aren't often faced by the same contention, some even being praised for looking like the games I played back in the day, and allowing charming or unique aesthetics to overshadow the need for a lot of time and money, and in some cases resulting in more beautiful and intricate visuals than a 3D counterpart. I mean, there's no denying that 999 looked and played way better than the 2 installment in the Zero Escape franchise, despite the fact that 2D games often required smaller budgets. They will never be as profitable as 3D games in the wider market, as the most popular genres, FPS, Battle Royale, sports, prioritize 3D games. I mean, look what happens when I suggest to my friends we play a top-down 2D competitive shooter. Now look at what happens when I ask if anyone wants to play Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Since because the majority of modern gamers care more for better graphics than better gameplay, and the fact that the genres that prefer 2D gameplay and visuals, puzzle games, visual novels, platformers, are less popular, it's unlikely that the mainstream will ever see a resurgence in 2D game culture. Outside of the mainstream, however, it is easy to understand why the appeal of 2D games has not dwindled, from the relaxing experiences and unique challenges I already mentioned to the nostalgia and aesthetic freedom of 2D art styles. The difference is essentially the same as live action versus animated films. Yes, the most popular and highly revered films are typically live action, but great animated films showcase their potential for otherwise impossible storytelling, outstanding visuals, and a complete integration of gorgeous soundtracks into the flow of film. For every 3D game I've loved, there is an equally impressive 2D counterpart. I mean, anyone who says these indie games are any lesser than those 3D games whose only saving grace is good graphics, please keep buying the deluxe premium edition of Madden games every year. Keep buying buggy, poorly released shitty-ass Bethesda games and be on your dumbass way. You know, making a video game is really hard, and while I shit on developers all the time on this channel, I'll never deny that making even a half-decent game is something I could never do. There are so many factors to consider. Making the gameplay fun enough that these impatient-ass gamers don't get bored and uninstall after an hour of playing, having good graphics or an interesting world, making the game function with no bugs or crashes. And if you have voice acting in your game, I mean, if you don't have voice acting in your game in 2023, you're not gonna sell anything, buddy. Everyone knows gamers can't read, man. You have to make your voice acting believable, not a lifeless performance. Otherwise, we get something like this.
That blade's enchanted.
Or this.
The shrine. It was communing with something out there.
Or all of these.
Protect the life cycle.
I think gamers, including me, take for granted how much of a Herculean task these developers go through to make some of our greatest gaming experiences, and I cannot thank them enough for that. And I hope this video has at least shown that while 2D and 3D art styles have their own merits, there's absolutely no merit in believing one is superior to the other, or that you are more of a gamer because you enjoy one more than the other. All that truly matters is, was it fun? Did it make it worth the time and money you have invested into it? Did the game world and design and the conscious choice therein to make it 2D or 3D enhance my experience, and the tone and storytelling? Is this game a piece of art? With most of these stupid ass AAA games, I'd say no.